So let's get ready, Al. Thank you. So Al.
It's AL.
Yeah. I was gonna say that. So I was gonna ask you, is it all skills or all lyrics?
So it's all lyrics. Then it became all lyrical on IG because all lyrics got taken. So I started with all lyrics, but as far as it goes, I couldn't get all lyrics on IG, so I got all lyrical.
Okay.
So I'm all lyrical. It's like I got almost like 7 different names.
Yeah, it's like you got different aliases. Because when I look you up, I'm like, okay, which one is it?
Yeah, I gotta fix that. But we're gonna work on that. I gotta go in and put everything together because Spotify I got AL skills, then another Spotify I got AL, then Apple I got an AL. So it's just like I gotta really put that, organize that.
All right, please do. Thank you. So how come you name yourself All Lyrics?
Because that's what I'm about. I'm just like the essence of what hip hop is to me is lyrics, and that's what I try to live up to. You know what I'm saying? Being that I love to hear lyrics, so that's what I came by. My real name is Alexander, so Al. So I kind of like just meshed it up, and it's I'm trying to remember exactly. I think I was talking to some girl in my beginning stages of rapping. And I kind of like just said, yo, my name is AL Skills. And she was like, oh, well, that's a dope name. And it stuck with me after that, because she liked it. But yeah, I took it as AL and then I made an acronym because a lot of times, a lot of artists back in the days, they would do acronyms. Like, growing up, I was a B-boy. So now, I was part of a crew called TEP, the Electric Pop Breakers. Shit like that. That was like a cool thing back in the days if you really...
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. So let me jump right into that. So you still break dance?
Do I still break dance? I will do it if I have the feeling. I'll dance. I'm not ashamed of dancing because that's how I started. Like music is an expression, and I guess the answer to listening to music is to dance, to let yourself loose. And as a kid, I was 5 years old, just dancing to Michael Jackson and Saturday Night Fever, and like all that disco music was like, I was attracted to it, And I remember my father, he was a record collector, and he had all records, but mostly salsa stuff. And then he had some of Michael Jackson, OJ's, a few, records that were American. And my uncle also, he was kind of a DJ in Colombia, and he sent me records from there. I remember as a gift. And man, I'm talking about, I'm 7 years old, going to my cousin's house and remembering to grab the record so I could play it, so I could dance.
Nice. And you had the turntables.
Yeah, of course, we had turntables and all that.
And he was scratching the records, just like a regular turntable.
A regular turntable. Okay. It was no. My father was not a DJ like that. He was just collecting records and playing at that time.
Be a vinyl collector.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Cool. So you was so you're from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Yes.
Originally. Born in Flatbush.
Flatbush.
Yes.
Yes. Not a new Flatbush, like the old Flatbush.
East 17 Beverly Road. And then we moved to a different neighborhood that was it's like one extreme to another extreme. Bensonhurst.
Oh, Bensonhurst, yeah.
Predominantly Italian neighborhood. I was raised in that. And it was not easy because you're a Latin, and there was a lot of racism in those times, man. So on my block, the only thing that saved me, that my father was like, he was no joke. So he was a super of the building, and then, he didn't take no shit. Like, he was serious about it. So a lot of people respected my father, gangster, and they was like, oh, that's his son, so they ain't gonna,
Yeah.
And I ended up like getting into fights with them, and then we ended up getting along and becoming friends, But like once I got into high school, I ventured off, and I was just like going to like where my Latinos and African Americans that were like into the same stuff that I'm doing. Even though the Italians also like hip hop too. You know, there's a lot of them that loved it too. But I was just mixing with that, and then once I got my car, I was out. It was all about me going out to nightclubs and stuff like that.
Oh man, that brought a flashback around the area, Bensonhurst, because I think right now Bensonhurst is like more Chinese than Italian.
Yeah, it's Asian. It's like European, but the Italians kind of really like they left. They all moved out to Jersey, Long Island, Staten Island, call it Staten Italy. But yeah, it's a lot of Asians over there. They took over a lot of property. The realty is crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so I remember I was watching your video, "Selling to Get Fly," and on the line you said, "I'm tired of the fake shit. Need to go back to the basic, where you used to wear Guess jeans with the basics."
The Asics with the
Asics. With Asics, yeah. Now that lyric. Now, how come you put that in your rhyme?
Well, so the rhyme itself, I'm expressing myself at that point of what's the state of music right now. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to let you know, like, you know, man, I'm tired of this fake shit. It is in line. So back when you was wearing Guess jeans and the Asics was kind of like the best time for music. You know, you're talking in the '90s. That fashion statement. So that's why I said that, man, because we're 2025 and you could put Raekwon's album now, and to me, it's still banging. You know, I don't. You know, as far as any like, and it's weird because you say that because my boy Ricky Batts is on that track. He sent me a video of a young out of towner listening to Illmatic, and I watched the whole video. And it's like, you know, it's a long video, and he's going through every song and just losing his mind and just stopping in and saying, "Yo, did you hear what he said?" You know. And it just showed me like, wow, this is what the kids are lacking because they don't have that type of artists at this time, kind of. I mean, there are, but I don't know if there's any young, like 20-year-old, 17-year-old, because Nas was 17 when he did Illmatic, 18 in that realm, to write or express himself that way. So when I see that, it brings me joy because, you know, music is supposed to connect with all types of ages, to me, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
So, you know, I'm a 10-year-old listening to, you know, disco and the Bee Gees, and I'm 50 now, and I play a record for the Bee. I love that record. You know what I'm saying? I love a Michael Jackson record. I love a Prince record. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there should be like an age barrier difference with music. It should be, you know, for everyone.
Yeah, I feel the same way too, especially in hip hop. There's like an age gap. Oh, like hip hop is a young man game. Like if you're over a certain age, you shouldn't be rapping at all.
Oh no, we've gotten that, I guess, you know, a lot, but the numbers don't lie. Like you look at what happened with Wu-Tang and Nas, they went and did a tour and sold out every show. You know what I'm saying? Where there's like very young artists, they're not doing that. They're not selling out arenas like that. It's not happening. So in that perspective, don't give up. If you're at a certain age, I mean, you want to do what you want to do and what you love to do, and if you're good at it, you can make money. It could bring you some money. You know what I'm saying? You could have a career because all of them are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're all, you know, in this world. Like you also got to be financially smart. If you're a certain artist and you got to take your money, invest it. You know, do what Nas did. He did this. Jay, you know, these guys, they put themselves in a room to make more money, and that's like, you know, it should be a goal in most of our lives. Like, you know, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. You know, set up goals and grow.
Yeah, I agree. So, what's the most impactful era in hip hop to you?
Man, it's you know, I love the '80s. I love the '80s and '90s. So both of them have a, you know, a part of my heart. You know what I'm saying? in the '80s when I was like 10 years old, I'm in a breakdance crew, like you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So I'm developing that world, and I'm in love with everything, fashion, dancing, the music, you know, the competition battle. I got a crew, and it was exciting, you know what I'm saying, to be able to be like, yo, you know, the technology has changed a lot so much that, you know, you could get anything on the finger of the hand. Then it was almost like you were like, oh shit, I gotta wait till Friday. It's Monday right now. I gotta wait till Friday to hear Mr. Magic, or, you know, BLS or certain things. You know, it wasn't so easy accessible, and when it's not so accessible, it becomes special to people. So I would say '80s for the dancing, beginning in the '90s, it was more about the growth of lyricism, and that's what I fell in love with.
Okay, the lyricism, like
'90s like, lyricism.
Like who would you listen to? Like groups, artists?
Rakim. He really, you know, he set the bar. So you know, you had the Mount Rushmore that they always say. So it's they, you know, I would mention Rakim, Coogee Rap, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, and then you know, Slick Rick, and then LL. You know, LL was like a super big influence in what I love and what he did, because he was kind of the first male rapper to bring in the women, like, you know, doing songs for them and making it cool to be able to talk to girls and everything, because you know I like girls. So that being said, you know, he definitely he always has to get mentioned, especially after he dropped the album like last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, my man still got it. He doesn't sound dated. That song Passion is one of my favorite. I must have played that shit a million times.
That album is hot. Because everyone you mentioned on your Mount Rushmore released album so far. I think, that's it for Coogee Rap. I think he's working on an album right now.
Yeah. So, you know, all those guys are still active, bro. Mm-hmm. They're all doing shows, and it's great to see that, because, you know, it's just the real will always shine. The truth is the truth. You know what I'm saying? You know, these guys can write some fire shit. Always.
Yeah, that reminded me when you said, I remember going to shows at a young age too, like back in the '90s. Mm-hmm. It's like you'll get so excited seeing somebody on stage for the first time, and you're like, oh, whoa. And I guess when you try to memorize words or lyrics, then you see them perform, it just comes to you automatically.
Yeah. Man, you know, that's a great, like, those are great memories. Mm-hmm. that you have, that you experience, because life is about experiences and stuff.
You remember the Latin Quarter or the Tunnel?
I was there. In the clubs. 100% Speed, yeah. I did a birthday party at Speed. Mm-hmm. At the time, I had like, probably 98. I got a flyer. Mm-hmm. I had a flyer, and then I had invited guests. I had Big Pun, Fat Joe coming, Beat Nuts. And this is like my beginning stage of my career, people that I met, and then, you know, I was becoming peers with, and I had them on the flyer and whatnot. But yeah, that was Club Speed. It was like 5 floors. You know what I'm saying? I had a basement, first floor, second floor. Yeah, everybody was rocking out the Speed. I was going to Speed earlier before it got really hood and shit. You know, it got really
like how early, like, what was it?
90, 96, 97, yeah. 98, 99, and then after that it started getting really hood. And you have Big Cap and Flex going in, you know, the tunnel closed. So I think a lot of the people were going there when the tunnel closed.
Yeah, a lot of people went to Roxy too.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, there was Roxy.
1018s, that was 1018s. But Roxy's, the original Roxy's, where you seen the movie Beat Street, where they have that big battle, that was there in that club.
Oh, that was the original Roxy.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Roxy was on 10th Avenue, 18th Street. But then they you know, at one point they changed the name. They call it 1018s.
Okay.
You know, it's always good to change the name, I guess, to get people to get, oh shit, it's a new, but it's the same spot, you know.
Yeah.
Some clubs do that. At Flatbush was like that. The Arc, they changed that name like 20 times.
Yeah, the
Arc. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned the Arc. I haven't been in the Arc in Last time I was there, it was just, I think they shut down a party. That cops was everywhere. That to get out, you couldn't get out.
Bro, the Ark. Shout out to all the Brooklyns that gone to the Ark, and especially like Latinos. There wasn't that many. I'm one of them. That was, I'm going to all, African American clubs, black clubs, and there's a sprinkle of Latins, but I'm there because I love it. I love hip hop. Mm-hmm. I'm not that guy listening. House music was dope too. We got into that phase, but nah, man, I'm over here. Mm-hmm. I give house its props because there was a moment where you had Jungle Brothers. They had a girl at house. It was a time going out partying. That was, and it's still moving. House music is still big and stuff.
Yeah, it's still big. Yeah,
but hip hop, man, ain't nothing like it for me.
Because I was going through your IG and you have all these pictures with celebrities, like people you connect along the way. So how did you hook up with a great Big Pun?
Oh, so Pun, I met Pun at the New Music Seminar. I think it was at 34th Street, the Peninsula Hotel. I guess yeah, that's where they have a theater in there, performance spot, and I was with the Beatnuts, and at the time they had a song called Off the Books, and I already heard Pun maybe a year prior, and I was like, oh, this dude is nice. And then that song came out, and I was just I had linked up with Juju and Psycho Les, and I started hanging out with them, mm-hmm. and then I was getting invited to spots, and then I met Pun there, and he didn't like, you meet him, he didn't know who I was at all. Then the second time I met him, he knew who I was because I was on the Source. I was mentioning Einstein Hype in the Source, and then it became different. We sat down. It was a show, Lincoln Center, Busta Rhymes, Beatnuts, Big Pun, and it was a big deal. I jumped in a limousine. I'm already getting I'm getting known and stuff. I'm with the Beatnuts, and I walk into a room and Pun is sitting down, and everybody's there, Cuban Link, all of them, and he's like, yo, everybody's coming up to me like, mm-hmm. like congratulating me, sit down, let's rap. And next thing you know, I'm in a cipher with Pun, and we going back and forth, kind of like, a friendly battle and stuff. He's trying to show off his rhymes. That's one thing about Pun. He's just like he's a rapper's rapper. Like even after like when he went platinum and he was successful, I was around him. Mm-hmm. I would go to shows with Beatnuts because they were I was working on my stuff with them and everything, and I'd be around him, and he was always like, "Yo, ready to rap, like battle, let's go. What's up? What you got?" You know what I'm saying? Nice. And it always kept me like saying, "Yeah, this is the way I want to be. I don't care about all that glamour life, or you get successful and you be like, nah, I don't want. No, he's on the corner, he hanging out, he coming out of his car, out of a limo, or whatever, and he's like, yo, who got a rhyme? Let's battle. Like he's ready." Loved it. I love that.
Man, that sounds like fun.
Oh man, great.
And how was he in the studio? The same way too?
Yeah, no, but if you notice, like how big he was a jokester. Pun was a jokester. These people, you know what I'm saying? Like that character of being a tough guy and hard. There's a lot of Brooklyn dudes that were jokesters, but they get it popping. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's how Pun was. He was just like that. It was always about jokes and having fun and talking shit and doing pranks. You know what I'm saying? It was never a dull moment around him. You know what I'm saying? Like I opened up for him in Connecticut, and shout to Ruby Red, rest in peace to Ruby Red. He was like a friend of mine, and he was doing shows. Like he was starting, like young promoter shit. And he had people in Connecticut. He's like, yo, I'm a book Pun early before Pun, really went in. He had like 1 or 2 songs, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna put you on the bill. Next thing you know, I got a flyer. It was like February something. I'm going up to Connecticut. I'm with Camilo, my boy Absolute, and I'm in a limousine with Pun. and he's playing me the whole Pun album before it comes out. The Pun album came out in April, so I heard the whole thing like in February, a few months before, and I played him some of my stuff. And yeah, you know, those are memorable moments. You know, I'm listening to the album and I'm like, you did a song with Black Thought? I was like, what? And like I didn't get the connection. He's like, yo, that's my favorite lyricist. I'm like, what? You like Black Thought? Because you know, Black Thought was considered more of like at that time more of like a backpack rapper, kind of like in that realm. And when I saw Pun, of course, he loved G rap, so I didn't think he was like attracted to that, like, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah, he's ill. And they did a song called Super Lyrical, and I was just blown away. I was just like, wow, you did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love to get surprised. I love, you know, something different. And I was like, oh, I didn't see how he was gonna do a record with him, and they did it, and it's such a crazy record.
I see what you
mean. In my opinion. And I heard John Blaze with another beat, and Nas had a different rhyme.
Oh.
So the way Fat Joe structured everything, he's smart, because he was like, that was supposed to be on Pun's album, but Fat Joe was like, nah, let me keep that for my album. And you know what I'm saying? And that was genius thought, because you know you're looking at marketing wise and album structure. So Pun had this, that, and the third. He had like, I guess, 22 records, and then Pun was like, all right, yeah, we do it for that. We'll put it for your album. Make your album. So Pun's album do 2 million. Oh, Fat Joe's gonna do 2 million. So it's a team effort, a team work.
Team
like,
build.
Yeah, team. So, you know, you want to see, like, if I'm in a crew, like, I want your album to go platinum. I want mine, him, everybody should go platinum. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they did that. But yeah, I heard that record. You could hear it on YouTube. Got a different beat, and Nas got a different verse. So when they went to Fat Joe's album, they grabbed it and were like, yo, we're going to redo the beat and whatnot. And then they called in Nas to redo the verse. And he redid the verse.
Okay. It's still hot, though.
Yeah,
it's still hot.
Oh, no, I mean, yeah, that's you know, one of my favorite cypher tracks that you could mention.
I miss those group albums or those group songs.
Yeah,
like
the
Posse TV or Reservoir Dogs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
To me, those are like real gems. Like, oh, wow, I like it.
No, they stand out, especially when the beat and everybody's rhyme is crazy. You know, you'll hear those records. They always play them.
The one closest to it was that Wu-Tang, like Triumph, with no verse, just straight up rap.
Yeah.
9 guys on the track just rapping.
Well, that's how they started. Protect Your Neck. That's how they started.
Oh yeah, Protect Your Neck was the first one. Yeah.
So if you think about it, they, you know, for the second album, like, yo, what are we gonna do for the single? And they said, no, let's do what we did first. And they kept it like that, and that went, you know, it did what it did. It went, you know, they sold records. They sold like 8 million or some shit, I think.
Oh, so wow, did Pun ever offer you was going to sign you at some point? Did a conversation ever came up?
No, that conversation was Fat Joe.
Oh.
Fat Joe had the first day that he seen me. He had met me a couple of times, but when I got that unsigned hype, he had pulled me to the side. He said, yo, I don't want to step on Juju's feet, but you got a demo. Let me get the demo. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He had take my number. He was like really adamant about it and shit. And you know, I gave him the, you know, I gave him the, I remember giving him back then, you know, demos of tapes and shit. It wasn't even on CDs yet. Like
a cassette.
It's a cassette deck, and I gave him a tape. But you know, they had a full house, so they had like already like 6 rappers that they were putting out. You know, they had Cuban Link, Triple Seis, Prospect, Armageddon. Yeah. So they had a big roster. They did the Terror Squad album, but I had that conversation. But then probably 2 years later, I had signed with Willie Essco, so I had to deal with him.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Yeah, yeah, that would have been nice. The whole Terror Squad, you would have been like the 6th man in, or the 5th man in.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, listen to me. a lot of people would you know, the thing about it back then, because of pun coming out, and if you're a Latin rapper, they would just tag you to that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I kind of was different, kind of in a way. You know what I'm saying? You know, and the way I approached the music. Well, if you listen to what I was doing or saying.
But see, I can see coming up, growing up, I seen pun differently. I seen pun as like lyricist. I'm like, oh, he could really rap because he was rapping. Like, oh, to me, and with my friends, he was different than Fat Joe. Fat Joe was like a rapper, you know, but pun was like,
nah, his vocabulary, his wordplay, his execution was
on point,
flawless, because he took the craft and he elevated it. So you know, he's a student of G rap. So if you listen to "It's a Shame,"
yeah.
So the way that G rap is rhyming there, pun is rhyming like that. But then he put an extra 2 more words in there. So he just stretched it out.
Okay.
You know, I'm into vision, enterprise, and advising, analyzing, and problem, and you know, the way his, you know, structure, the way that you structure your rhyme, he took it in that play where he had certain flows that he was doing that. So, you know, his standout rhyme would always be that the Twins, when he did little in the middle, little that we riddle the middleman who didn't do diddly. So that's what elevated him and made him stand out. So just those little words. But then, of course, other than that, the shit he was saying, he was saying some outlandish, crazy shit. You know, the pun edition with your host thieves is unofficial. I come and get you, and let the DZ come kiss you with 1 pistol, 2 clips. I make the crew do flips like acrobatics. My God is magic. I make rappers disappear. Come here. Everything you fear is here. Let me kiss your tears. Like, who says that shit? Like, when you hear that line, you were like, I would heard that rhyme. I was like, holy shit! How could you battle this guy?
I heard it. We had to stop, write it. What? Pause and write.
What happened?
You know, we had to write what he said because it was just too fast.
Yeah, I'm lucky because I can catch everything. Catch everything as soon as I hear it. I'm like, oh, he said this, that, and the third. Of course, you'll replay it, but then you'll be like, damn, wow, shit he was saying. It pushed me. You know, it's always great to hear shit like that because it inspires you to be like, yo, let me go the extra. You know, let me say something like, that's what you want to do. You want to you want to make people like, damn, you said that, wow, you know.
Yeah. And he do it with ease too, make it look easy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the 34th anniversary of Lyrics and Lounge is coming up soon.
Yeah.
And for your song lyrics, and when you were just talking about pun, right? To me, lyrics kind of sound like you were trying to like a pun. Was that the correlation?
Well, you gotta look at the time when I did lyrics. 96. It didn't come out till 98, but it was part of my demo in 96.
Okay.
So, you know, I was recording. I recorded that with my boy Kenny Diaz, and that was my demo. And I had like 4 or 5 other songs, and basically that song was really liked a lot. I had to sit down with Lyrics Lounge. They were like, "Yo, you know, we want to hear your demo, and you know, maybe we create a song, whatever." But they loved the record. They were like, "Yo, can we license this record for album?" I'm like, yeah, we could do that. And then, you know, that particular record also got me unsigned hype, kind of, because Rick Morales, I gave him a tape, and he came back and he's like, "Yo, man, that song's incredible." You know, like they loved that record. But at the time, when I wrote that record, I was more in a G rap mental state of what G rap. So if you listen to It's a Shame, Shame came out in 95, and his flow on that, for the torches, the courts, the office. So when I did lyrics, I wanted to do as much of as a rapid flow that I can, and then begin again and keep it going, you know? So if you listen to Chain of My People to My Needles, lyrics, I need you, I breathe you to see you, the psychics, I came to read you, hip hop, I love you, and I need you, rhythmatic or automatic, fanatic, bringing the static, rappers, panic, frantic, while relax on hammer style. So it's kind of like him, but it's kind of a little bit different the way I did that. Yeah. If you really break it down, but it's basically just trying to challenging myself in how many words I can say in one breath. You know what I'm saying? And and that's what came out, and people always bring that song up, and they love that record.
Song is hot.
Appreciate it.
To this day, it's still hot.
Thank you.
When we was playing it, I'm like, it still sound hot. It doesn't sound dated. It still sound fresh.
Yeah, man. I mean, I did a video. I shot a video for it. So I did it because of the anniversary, and I said, it was lingering in my head for years. Like, should I do a video for this? Like, my man Words was like, you should do a video. Like so many people telling me that, like, yo, you should do a video, and I was like, I don't know. And then I remember seeing Nice and Smooth. I don't know if you know it's Nice and Smooth,
Nice
right?
Smooth, yeah.
So they had one of my favorite records, No Delay, and they did that in '88. That song came out in '88, and they shot a video probably like 2012. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they did they took the record and were like, yo, let's do a video for this record. It's so hot. And then, hey, yo, kick it with your rhymes like a 410 teller. And I was like, oh, shit, they got a video for this, There's a lot of artists that did songs that you like, I wish they did a video for, like, I Gave You Power by Nas. Like, oh my God, imagine a video for that. Or a video for Rewind. Like, like, in my perfect world, like, within 2 years, I'm gonna approach now and be like, yo, I'm gonna shoot this video for you. That's how bad I wanted to see that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's a good bet, right? I'm gonna go. But so when I shot the video, and the way I shot it, I was like, yo, I want it to be like this. One idea for the video, I wanted to do like an AI, and maybe have a young face of my face on somebody else's. I was gonna do that.
I like that concept.
Yeah, but I didn't have enough time to do it, and the technology, it would have cost a lot more money but I think I did a good job. I dropped it like 2 days ago, and it's going crazy right now.
Basically revived the song.
100%. I mean, I got like 12,000 views on IG, and like so many, like right now I dropped maybe two like versions of the video, not the full video. I'm just trying to get the traction to YouTube and stuff. But it's weird that I just did that, and the algorithms just go crazy, and it's just like I got like 100 followers just off of that video. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
It's I've been trying to crack that code, but it's iffy.
Let me know when you do. Let me know.
It's a constant posting and getting your YouTube. That's what I need to work on, my YouTube. And it's 100 things that you got to do. TikTok, you got to YouTube. You know what I'm saying? All of those stuff. It's a lot. And then manage your own life. You have a job and whatnot. So it's just like
Do you miss the old days? You guys just sign a label where they take care of all the work for you, but get a big percentage of your revenue?
I'm not mad at what's going on now as far as you being an independent artist, and I can see artists like Carmega. Shout out to Carmega. Like he don't need no label. He does everything himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've been known about this. It's just the best part about it now is that you have total control. You have your fan base. You own your publishing. Bro, what else do? You got to get on there and make good music and show it. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully that your fans respond to it. Mm-hmm. And I see it. I just dropped this Lyrics I Need You, and everybody's going crazy. Oh my God, my favorite record, whatever. So if I can continue to put out music just like that, and they're gonna buy it.
Yeah, just build on the momentum.
It's all about fan base, bro. Mm-hmm. And it's on the individual. Like, oh, what do you want? I want to make this amount of money. Well, you're gonna have to. It's just. Yeah. I learned as far as my age, you have to be happy with what you have right now, in order to be a happy person. Now, if you're like still like angry and you feel miserable, I found happiness in what I write. So when I write a dope rhyme and I say it back, I say, yo, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? I say, yo, this is bringing me happiness. because material, I got it. You know, I got all types of shit. I drove every whip. I've done everything. Been on yachts. Had all that stuff, and it's all good. But in the long run, if you don't have a passion for something, and I have a passion for this, this is what brings me joy. Mm-hmm. Just being able to write a rhyme, and if I could get 2-3 people be like, "Yo, that's dope," and performing. You know, perform when I perform, I get on, and people come up to me after that. That is like the best part of what I like to do.
I'm glad you said that because I seen the footage where Sean Price was performing to you throughout the whole audience.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. God bless. You seen that? I'm trying to remember. So, if I'm correct, I was with my boy Michael K. Williams.
Yeah,
and we were both there, and it's funny because there's another take where he stops the music like, "Yo, shout out to my man AL, one of the illest MCs in the game." Blah blah blah, and I was like, and I was like, wow, he's always me and him. Well, how I met Sean Price, I met him through this guy DJ Rob Lowe. And Rob Lowe was a DJ from Brooklyn, so he's like Ron G, Envy. He's a dope DJ that's doing parties like Camilo and all that. And he used to do, like, at that time, the mixtape shit was like really important. So he's like, "Yo, I met him because I won a rap battle in Manhattan, the city, and he was a DJ. So Rob knew me from going out clubbing and dancing, but this time I started changing, going into MCing, okay. And I was at this battle, and it was a funny battle because I always remember these friggin' fake contests that I was be like, "Yo, you're not here." So it says like first price record deal, second price $100, and then third price studio time. And then the promoter was a he was a bozo kind of, so I was like, record deal, all right, whatever. Mm-hmm. Let me get on this shit. Let me show him what it is. And I won the contest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I won, and then Rob took it like, he was like, "Oh shit, you're nice." And he was like, "Yo, A." So I started making noise. He was like, "Yo, I want you to do this. I want you to do an intro." So he did an intro, and the intro was this girl named Monica. She was an R&B artist that was signed to Ola Records, which was Jelly Bean Benitez's label. They wanted to sign Pun. Before loud, like there was a bidding war.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Ola was a house of Latin artists, Ola Records. Oh. I was going up to the office trying to get a deal too back then at that time. So she was an artist that was on there. She was R&B. She was, I think, Puerto Rican, and then Sean Price. So I went to meet him in Bushwick, the studio. Sean Price is writing his rhyme. I'm with my boy Icon, which was another Puerto Rican MC that was nasty, straight paper, if you want to look at it. So, and we was at the studio, and then at that time, I think there was about like 8 MCs in there, and we just rhyming. I got my rhyme already written, and we just going in. And it's like, as the cipher would go, the more it would go, the less they would rap. And it ended up just being me and my boy rapping, and nobody else. They ran out of rhymes, and then Sean was there to see the whole thing, just laughing, and then we did the thing. The mixtape came out, and it was getting love. And then me and him, ever since then, and that was back in like 97, 98 and whatnot. And I've seen him grow, like, and turn from, Ruck to Sean Price, the MC, and he did his own thing, and he really popped. And then, yeah, very special dude. Mm-hmm. From, in my opinion, the way he penned his rhymes, he started going there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he just, and you know what it is? The best part about him, he would say some wild shit, but his thing was making words rhyme no matter what, and making them sound good. So he'll be like, "I'm amped. Had something to hit you with the lamb bread." Some shit, lamb. Like yeah. The way I want to try to explain it is that he was always doing a perfect rhyme in my mind at the ending. Like, I come from the Lord Finesse world, like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, if I say, I'm gonna hit you with the speaker, let it blow. The sneaker want to flow, so I want to make sure every word rhymes perfect in a way. That's where I come from. So he was in that realm of writing like that.
Yeah, I know his anniversary is coming up of his passing. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sad, bro.
Yeah. So what was going through your mind when he was rapping to you on in that club?
Oh man, I was like, yo, you crazy, bro. Yeah, I got a story. You want to hear a story?
Yeah.
So, okay, shout to EOW, right? That was a crew. They're still active. You heard of End of the Week, right?
Yeah, with Mental Supreme.
Yeah, and you know, it was and then you know, Sun Tzu and Vice, God bless, rest in peace. And you know, they had asked me to perform for Father's Day in the Seaport.
Okay.
And this was like 2000 and before he passed. It was like 2013. I don't know what exact year it was. So I go there and Sean performed, and then I go there to perform. So I'm about to rock out. I see him. I say, "What's up?" We took a picture. Everything's going. So I get into rhyme. I start doing my set, and then this clouds coming out and everything. It's an outside event. Oh my God! By the time I did maybe 8 minutes of my set, yo, it came down. It came crazy, rain like a hurricane. So I had to stop rapping. I ran under the tent, and now everybody's under these tents, and it's raining, and it rained for like maybe 15, 20 minutes. I think we stopped. I don't remember if I finished the show or whatnot, but I remember that. And so the next time I see him, he's like this. He sees me somewhere, some event. He's like this. Yo, you gonna rap? And I'm like, nah, I'm not. Because I don't want it to start storming and go crazy. I'm like, you motherfucker. Yeah, that's the type of jokester he was. Just like Pun, just like how Big was. That Sean was the ultimate jokester. I love that dude, man. God bless.
That's a good one.
Right? That's funny, right?
Well, hold on. So yeah, Mike. So how did you know Michael Jordan?
Michael K. Will.
Yeah, Michael K.
So I met him through a mutual friend that was a dancer, because Michael's a dancer. He came in the game as a dancer. So if you look at footage of Crystal Waters, he's dancing in the video.
Okay.
So when Mike was in the streets, and unfortunately he caught this scar. He got cut in the face, but he was in the mix of that. He was modeling and dancing. He was in the arts, like really loved to dance and everything. And I guess he had a picture. He had what you call as a comp card or a headshot, and Tupac picked him to be in the movie Bullet, and that's how he got his start, like into the film world. But I met him through a mutual friend as a dancer, and he came to the studio, and we vibed, and then it was on after that. It's like we just was like, yo, come over, yo. We just started hanging, and we got really close when he shot Boardwalk Empire in Brooklyn. He was shooting the series Boardwalk Empire.
Okay.
And I was on set all the time. Yo, Alex, where you at? Let's go. I'm running around with him, and man, we got really close, bro. And tragic that he passed away. Mike was, one of a kind. He always was looking out for the less, like who, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
he would be on the street and he'll see somebody that's homeless, and he'll talk to them and be like, yo, what's your name? Like, he was like, what is your name? And then, and he made me think about like where I stand in the way humanity is towards people that are dealing with what they're dealing with,
Yeah.
And I was like, he's nothing Hollywood, yo. He works, he's in Brooklyn, and then he grew into this, give back. Like he grew into this monster of giving back. He had like a foundation for reform for the kids. Like he had a whole bunch of different things that he was doing, and it was for the community because he came from Vanderveer Projects. So, like I never seen anybody do that type of work at a level of being, that celebrity being so like down to earth and just giving back, bro. Never.
I didn't know that. That's good.
What? I mean, like, I have a good friend of mine who went to high school, and she was like, "Yo, I would love for Mike." I said, "Let me ask him." And then he had a documentary called "Raising the System," and he was running around with this other guy, Dominic, that was in the documentary. And what he was doing was he was doing these showing these premieres in prisons, in schools, wherever there was anybody that he could spread the word about what's going on right now in our communities, man. It's saying what raising the system means is like you get incarcerated at the age of 8. 90% of the kids that get incarcerated at the age of 8, they go to jail for the rest of their lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What can we do? And that's the thing. What can we do? What can we do? We can show this. We can educate. We can do something about it. And that's what he was doing. So he went to the school, and my friend was like, ecstatic about it because he's talking to the kids and he's telling them, no, I'm an addict. I go to AA meetings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do this. I do that. But it's a everyday struggle for me to get better at doing what I'm doing. But I have this problem. They used to make fun of me. They said I was ugly. You know what I'm saying? He's talking to the kids, and then there was a girl in there that started crying because she was like, "Oh wow, couldn't believe it that this celebrity is like me too." Because we're all just the same people. Just some people find their talent, and with the talent of being an artist, it becomes this thing. But you're a human being, bro. You know what I'm saying? You just got probably more money than me, but you're not better than me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I approach everything. Because what you got in the heart is the only thing that has value. The way you move, the way you treat people, the way you move with respect, that's the only thing that's honorable. Not because you got a yacht and $10 billion. That doesn't impress me. I already know. I've seen it. I've done it. You know what I'm saying? You impress me when you do stuff like what my brother was doing, helping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the only way I feel like fulfilled when I do stuff like that. You feel good. Like I was going to her school and I was teaching the kids about hip hop and helping them out. And I ended up helping them out in this contest that the Jizza has with my boy Chris Edom in Columbia University. And they have this contest where these high schools all compete using music with science, and whoever has the best, I guess, best performance wins. And these are things that we need because there's so much in the community that's like dealing with so much on top of poverty, drugs, the jail, fatherless. You know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, it is so hard for a youth to grow and then to become something prosperous and stuff. People, it's mental health is the key thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is.
Being able to be like, yo, I'm dealing with all this stuff. I don't get a break. You could go crazy. You know what I mean? And he was there to try to help people.
That's good of him. Yeah, I like that. So before you were signed to Willie Essco label, did you have like any different offers by different labels?
Yeah. Raucous Records. They were approaching me to sign at the time. This is like right after I did Lyrics I Need You, and then I did the DJ Honda record with Cuban Link and Juju. I had a video on Relativity. That was like my first paycheck that I got money, like went straight to the Averett store type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got $5,000. Like, you're like, oh shit, this is crazy. But yeah, we had a situation with Sony too, because Kenny Diaz had a good friend at Sony, and I had the group called House of Reps. So we were trying to do what Wu-Tang did, was to get a deal with the group and then be able to break off and do solo stuff.
Okay.
And at the time, my lawyer was Paul Rosenberg, which is Eminem's manager. and we had gotten, a contract and everything, and we sent it to Paul, and Paul did his revision. We got it back, and by the time we got it back, when we went back to send it, the people that were at Sony got fired. So this is the music game, man.
Yeah.
Nothing is set in stone. You could one day you could be at a label, and the label gets bankrupt, and that's it. It's done. Another label buys you, or whatnot, and then now you're under supervision with another person that you don't even know, and you're just like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I had a few offers before I did Will.
So what made his label more attractive? How come you signed with his label?
Well, basically, we had a friendship, number one, and then he was like, yo, I got it, and you think about it. When you're with like a marketing is a big tool that's needed for any type of sales. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they had great infrastructure, and then I had my resources, and I was able to get MTV to do a Here First. Here First, I don't know if you remember that. That was like a big deal back then. It's almost like an unsigned hype, but in video.
Yeah.
So shout out to my man Ramad Dukes. I went to college with him, and Ramad Dukes is another hip hop journalist that, he's up there with the, Twan, these guys are in that level of hip hop journalism where they grew and they know and they lived it. You know what I'm saying? Because you talk him, Rob Bachman, they did Genius and stuff. So these guys came up with me, and he was in a position. He's like, "Yo, hey, give me your music. I'm a sick," because it was almost like you had to audition for a group of people, and they play like, I don't know, a few artists, and my music was, they loved it. Mm-hmm. And then they did it. They gave me a Here First, and it was like basically a commercial of me signing to Willie Essco, and that shit was like, on MTV, you got millions of watches, so I was getting calls everywhere, like, yo, you signed to Willie? Oh shit, it was dope. It was dope, and then 9/11 happened, and it stopped everything. The album never came out because of that. So I did a whole album and a compilation album. So it was me, and I had two other artists. This guy named Kasim and my boy Benny Blanco. That's part of my rap group. So we had a deal. We all got signed and everything and whatnot. And then in the process of me working and doing it, my album's done and everything, 9/11 happened. That was September of 2001, and that stopped everything. So nobody was doing. Everybody was scared to spend money, and they just paused everything. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And whatnot. And then I was signed for like whatever time period, and I was released, of course, because I had a time span. But I remained real close with Will, my boy Richie Bravo. We're still friends to this day. I also worked on a brand called Low Life with them and stuff.
Yeah. But now let's go back to Willie Essco. So a lot of people don't know who Willie Essco is. It's fashion designer.
Yes, fashion designer from Jersey, Puerto Rican. So he was probably one of the ones that was Latino that was in the urban market and that became successful. He went in the 96, 97. He partnered up with he actually signed Nas to a sponsorship. Mm-hmm. Okay. And, you know what I'm saying? So Nas was sponsoring, so it was Ill Will, you know what I'm saying? So he had Willie Essco. So it was almost like it almost like fell into play. Mm-hmm. So Ill Will and Willie Essco and Nas Escobar. So it all became that. It just like meshed up, and they had a good run with the beginning of that what you call is the urban fashion world or the era. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. You had all these street brands emerging. You had Mecca, Nietzsche, Fubu,
Walkaware. Ronald Reynolds,
Woo Wear.
Woo Wear.
Carl Kanai was still around. But yeah, man, I was part of that. So to be really honest, the reason why I got signed was he had told me, yo, we're doing Vegas. We're doing the magic show. So the magic show is 2 times a year. It's to go to Vegas, and everybody would go to Vegas. All the buyers would go to one place to buy the inventory and everything. So that became a big deal. And what they were doing, they were creating these big booths that were like extravagant, you know, $500,000 booths, you know. So Willie took it upon himself to have every year or every time he had a booth, he had a theme. So one time it was like 116th train station, New York train station. You walked in there, they made a train car, you know, the seats and everything. The entrance, you had the token booths there. They did a cabana, they did a bodega. You know what I'm saying? Anything that was affiliated with anything in that world of Latin. But, you know, we had a twist of urban. But yeah, we at that time, yeah, the world was on that. You know, we was wearing that Inichi, that Fubu, and it was successful because the kids were like, yo, I don't want to wear that, whatever else is there. This is ours, you know what I'm saying? This is what we made. Yeah. And now we're wearing it. And then the whole world just took it upon themselves. You know, you had Echo. You know, I actually walked for Echo. I got
Oh yeah, I seen the video. Yeah,
you seen the video, right? So that me and Mos Def, Rich Medina, my boy Mike from Frank Chop Shop, we all were, you know, young, and that was my first time walking on the wall. Got paid to do it, so you know, I didn't have to spend no money in that era. Like with clothes, you know, you're an MC. Everybody wants you to, you know, wear that shit because you're basically a walking billboard in the world. You know, they say, "Oh shit, do you see what Mos Def was wearing? Oh yeah, well, you know what I'm saying? I want to wear what he was wearing. I want to wear what AL was wearing." So artists at that time was getting boxes. I was getting boxes of clothes and shit.
Boxes,
bro.
Clothes like every year until.
Yeah, every year. I mean, whenever I be popping around anywhere, you know, you're talking at a time where you had to be outside to be events, going here, this show, whatever it was, you know. And we from Brooklyn, so we're dressing. You know, our DNA is to be fresh. So yeah, that was a great time, man.
Yeah, because I remember back then there was like a whole bunch of male clothes, but like only one female clothes I know of was like April Walker.
April Walker, yeah. She was one. I'm trying to remember what other females, but yeah, she's definitely a queen in that world. You know, she started early and did her thing. Yeah. And I think she's still active now. I've seen her.
Yeah, she is.
Put out some stuff. You know, it's always, you know, with fashion is a cycle. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know, remember it was baggy at one time, then it went to tight. Now it's baggy back again. So it's just like, it's just like wild how, you know, certain fashion trends go back and forth or whatnot.
So what do you think happened to urban clothing line? Because like you mentioned back then, there was like a renaissance for urban wear. Now you don't really see urban wear as much anymore. Or you really see that whole period?
Well, you know, 2001, 2002. Mind you, we're looking at we're coming from New York City, so now I guess in 2000 and 2001 it became jerseys. Everybody was wearing athletic shit, and Mitchell and Ness went and they springed out, and it's always going to be something with New York fashion because New York fashion, the word itself, New York, new. You gotta understand, we're always gonna be like, "Oh, what's the next shit? Oh yeah, we did that already. Let's do something." Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel New York is. So, you know, you went there and then, you know, Jay came out and it's about button downs and you know, sophisticated button downs. So now everybody started doing the button downs and everything, and the hats to the side, and then it got really into like the high brand luxury. So then now you started seeing a lot of people wear Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and that trend kind of ran for a couple of long years, you know. But in between that, you got Supreme, and then Supreme came, and they were streetwear, you know what I'm saying? So people were gravitating to that. And then what, you know, probably 2014. I don't know who was the first to do any collaborations, but the collaborations started to merge. And you got, Supreme with Louis Vuitton. And then you started seeing, Gucci with Balenciaga. And then Gucci with Adidas. And, you know what I'm saying? All these things. So it was a good thing because you got two powers saying, yo, let's combine and let's just do that. And it's good because I guess you're getting people that wear Balenciaga to go say, oh, you know what? I like that, but I like the Gucci, so let's go buy that. So you get two different markets to go in and buy the same thing. So, well, the urban thing died out because of I guess, it's always been trendy to be what's the next thing, and what's the next thing. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on where. I guess a lot of what Europe does a lot with fashion, but New York does it and just twists it, makes it different, And even though like you could look at fashion now, but there'd be one designer that always stands the test of time, and I would say Ralph Lauren.
Yeah, that was going next to the Low Lives. Yeah.
So yeah, the Low Live. That was high school. I'm going to high school trying to be fresh, and it was just a thing for me. Like, yo, I gotta get this. I started out with Tommy Hilfiger first, and then in my high school, everybody's wearing polo, and I'm hanging out with cats at a boost, and I'm starting to boost, and all that shit is going on. Like one of my good friends, his uncle passed away, and he got an inheritance of like 370 G's, like some crazy shit, and he was like, I'm buying, we're going to the Polo Mansion. I'm like, what the hell is that? He's like, yo, it's a store that's a mansion, and they got all the illest polo there.
Is it on Prince Street?
What happened?
The one on Prince Street?
No.
Oh, the one by 60th.
It's 72nd and Madison. That's a mansion. And when I went there, I was like, the first time we went to Toys R Us, like, all of this is polo. This is, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're seeing polo that you don't see it, and to this day, I always go up there to see what they got. I'm always shopping. I love dressing. So that's one of my vices. You know how some people are like, yo, I love cars, I love sneakers. Me, I love clothes. So Ralph Lauren definitely holds himself up. And in Brooklyn, a group of kids, Ralphie kids from Crown Heights, and the kids from Brownsville, they took it upon themselves to get fresh. But the problem was, you coming from poverty. So what they had to do, they had to steal. So they were boosted. Shout to Rudy Lowe and Dollar Bill and Thurston and Rack Lowe. Especially these are all the founders that started early, because you're talking about '88. That's the year that got founded, kind of like. And you have Boost and Billy, and he's probably the first one to put out music, and he did it fly. He did it right. You know what I'm saying? Then after that, Rack Lowe and Thurston took the torch and made it go to a next level. These guys got they got a catalog like of 100 albums and shit, and a lot of it, music is with the clothes. So their covers. They got the polo, spit boxes. They invented the polo gangster bear, the polo teddy bear, which was done by Will Tell, which is it's a teddy bear that got guns and a trench coat and whatnot. But 88, 89, 90, 91, that just started a whole thing in Brooklyn. You had everybody wearing polo. You went to a spot, and if you're not wearing that, you're not it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're corny. Like, you don't got it. You ain't that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was a thing in BK. So, I became one of those guys that I had to be head to toe low. Everything polo.
Head to toe?
Head to toe. Underwear, socks, sneakers, all that. And they got to a point where New York is a trend, and then we started moving to a different, I guess, phase. and that was like, I guess Iceberg came out, $700 sweaters, and now you're looking at, you know, high end luxury stuff. So that's what people is like going to attract to. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, you can't get this shit. This shit is $2,000. You know what I'm saying? So because it's cost that much money, it's supposed to be put. You know, and I get it. That's how they market it, and they can really, you know, fool you. But you know, you got to look at quality. Willie Essco says it all the time because he sees me wear like Gucci shit and he's like this, bro. Shit costs $25 to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I don't care what it costs. I'm paying whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you know, as you get older, you figure things out. And I shop so much that I'm not shopping regular. You know what I'm saying? I like, you look through my phone. I got, you know, names and people that work places. I get 50% here, 40 there. I'm at the outlets. I don't care, but I'm gonna get fresh. You know what I'm saying? One way or another. But yeah, that's the low lives are still strong right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Still popping. And you know, what puts me in awe is that, yo, they got low lives in Mexico. They got low lives in France. They got low lives in Colombia. When I see that shit, it just bugs me out. I'm like, look, like not only did we create a genre, but we also created like a whole, you know, clothing gang that became a movement out of the world. And I'm like, what? How influential is that? Or what do we, you know, we must be doing something right because everybody wants, you know, like if you have that, it's crazy.
I feel like it got stronger. Like,
man, come on, man. You're talking about, you know, it was in 88, 99. You only seen it in Brooklyn. Then that shit started spreading. And it was in LA. You had like low lives out there. And now that shit is everywhere. It's straight crazy. Japanese low lives, it's all over the world. So it brings joy to me to see that, you know, what we did back then has influenced so many people. You know what I'm saying? In different countries, yo.
So let's talk about clothes real quick. So how many pairs of shirts do you own then? Like a few thousand?
I have a lot.
We say 1,000, 100, 10,000, 2,000.
I mean, with shirt wise, man, I have a lot of shirts. I could say over like a few hundred, 400 or 500 shirts. But I mean, make three. You know, the thing about it is that the shirts that I got, they're all so expensive. So I have like a lot. I have like a lot of Versace silks. I got Gucci silks. I got like in 2001, 2, and 3, I went crazy with silk. Like I just went nuts with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I'm gonna start selling this stuff because I'm like, yo, I wore this a couple of times, but I have a few favorites and stuff. But yeah, I have a nice amount of shirts and stuff. Coats and coats. That's another thing too.
Coats, socks.
Oh man, I got a lot of stuff.
Man. So okay, let's go back to music. So you got a song licensed for a soundtrack for Dirty Dancing. That's Spanish. I can't pronounce it. It's all with a G U.
Wahida.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it?
Wahida. It's called Wahida.
Okay.
So Wahida is a song. I was invited for to do a feature with this guy named Andre Levine, and it was a band called Yerba Buena. Yerba Buena in Spanish and English means good weed. Yerba is weed, Buena is good. So that was the vibe of the band. But the band was created by him with some of the best Cuban artists in the world, you know?
Yeah.
Somaira, she's the lead singer. Pedro Martinez, which he's a big percussionist right now. And Chino, El Chino, he's another Cuban artist. And this is in 2003. And he started this band. And shout out to my man, Elijah1212. He had connected with this guy. And the guy was looking for a Latin rapper. But that was rapping in English. And that's me. Like, I rap in English. I don't rap, you know, whatever. And I kind of like auditioned and played the music. And it was like, okay, here, take this track and write it. Next thing you know, I wrote the track. It's about a girl. And I wrote this rhyme, 16 bars about a girl, kind of like the girl I was dating. And I put her in there or something, you know, whatever I said in that. And I recorded it. He liked it and he paid me for it. And then months later, he's like, "Yo, we're coming out with this record." And I'm like, "Oh, word! You got to go perform at the Copacabana." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I go to perform there, and then kind of first time I hear the record, kind of, if I'm not mistaken, there's another MC on it. There's three MCs: Divine, RBG, AL, and this other art. I guess he was a trumpet player, but he made him rap the third verse. So the first two verses, the first verse is Divine, the second verse is me.
Okay.
And Divine is funny because Divine I met years before. We was not in the studio, we didn't make it together, but I met Divine years before in Puerto Rico. He was working, and I was with Camilo going to do a gig in '99, and he knew who I was because he met me through cannabis. so you to get really Divine is a Bronx MC, and he's part of Dead Prez. He's one of the only artists that by himself on a song on the first Dead Prez album, and he is more of a revolutionary rapper. He's more of a you know, if you know who Dead Prez is, they're against the system. They're very much of a different world. You know, very militant and
pro-black.
Yeah, pro-black all day. But this is pro-Latino. He's coming from, and he's coming from a black Latino world because he's dark Puerto Rican, and he rhymes in Spanish too, and he's one of the most illest MCs that you could put on stage because when he raps on stage, he'll make you go. He'll make you do whatever it is. We gotta go. You gotta protest right here. Everybody's going over there, and we did this record. So it's a different record. It's about a girl, and that record brought us a lot of money. Nominated for a Grammy, 7 soundtracks for movies. The movie Honey with Jessica Alba. Yeah. She picked the song. My verse is in the movie. Cheaper by the Dozen, Steve Martin. That movie. Dirty Dancing Part 2, Havana Nights. It's in that movie for the soundtrack. Pepsi commercial. You know, on top of that, it was on Entourage, Third Watch. You know, so, you know, when you look at your BMI checks, you're publishing, they'll tell you where it's, you know, where it was played or where or whatnot. And from '03 to probably '07, '08, we were touring and, you know, performing that song wherever it was. He asked us to come to perform. But it was a great experience. And, you know, I could play the record right now. And I was proud to say that my mother and father witnessed me performing this record at the pier in like 2004 or 5. And they seen their son performing somewhere and getting paid to perform. And, you know, it's a good feel because, you know, when you're dealing with family, they're looking at, what are you doing? Why don't you get a job? You know, I don't want a job. I want to do this. And they're like, what? The only time that it makes sense is when you come back with a check. Like, little mom, I'm getting paid to be, you know, to do a TV show on MTV, Lyricist Lounge show. You know, all that stuff. And they'd be like, oh, shit, my son's on TV. You know, they see a video. So it all changes, but that's all natural. That's the way human beings are. We're kind of built, you know. Only you should be able to believe in yourself so much that you do what you can to be who you are. You know what I mean? You don't listen to your parents tell you to do this and do that. You got to do what you want to do. But as long as it's in a you know, positive way. You know,
got to be positive.
You know, but yeah, man, it was that record. I'm very proud of that record. You know, that I'm on that record. You know, and I have the opportunity to be on it because it's a kind of like, it gives you a Latin vibe. You know, so you know, it has that sound. Like I could literally go to Spain and perform it, and people will be like, "Oh, I love this record." You know what I'm saying? Depending where you're at, but a lot of people know that record. You know, like, "Oh yeah, I remember that record." You know, it's one of those for that market, I guess. You know.
So that's like a big breakout. So that's good then.
Of course, really good.
So do you think they'll bring back Lyricist Lounge on TV?
Oh, man, they always ask me that question. I know they're doing a documentary. So who knows? I talked to Ant's my guy, Danny. I talked to him a lot on the phone, and he always picking my brain. Yo, what's this? What's that? What's going, what's going on? And last thing I know is that they're putting that documentary together. When they do that, who knows? You know what I'm saying? I'm available. You could say that if it makes sense. Gotta make sense.
Cause I seen a few of it. Like it's a good show.
Well, yeah, we was if you look at if you ask what's his name Miranda the guy that did Hamilton, what's his name again?
The lead actor.
Yeah, he's a writer. He always said that he got inspired by Lyricist Lounge. So if you saw that the Heights, that first play that he had, it's in that form. It's rapping, it's singing, it's dialogue, but it rap. That's what we did, and we did that off the top. Words we're doing the Lyricist Lounge album where we're all doing a freestyle for the album. While we're waiting to get in the booth, we're all freestyling in the lounge room, and Words comes up with this "I'm a teacher" skits, and he ends up becoming a teacher. I play a nerd. Thurston is the class clown, and then we're all going back and forth off the top of the head, and they had it on camera, and they used that footage to go audition or to get the people, to MTV to be like, oh shit, and then next you know we're doing a pilot for that that creation. So I was part of that.
How long did that show last on MTV?
We did 2 seasons.
2 seasons. Yep. It felt like it was longer. I have no idea why.
I don't know. It was. I don't know if they played it for an extra year or so, but they did 2 seasons. We were able to do. It came out in '99, I think, or 2000, and then we did one more, and then they got cut.
Okay, so you was in the studio with Little Fam from MOP. So are you working on an album?
No, not necessarily. I'm working on my solo stuff, and I got so much stuff I'm working on. But I got invited by Rascas, and Little Fame was there, and I've crossed paths with Little Fame many times, and we always respected his music. He's one of them dope MCs that they have incredible records, standout records, and I was there listening to the beat, and I kept like rapping and saying shit. I'm like, yo, Raz, I need to get on this. And he's like, yeah, I got you. And next thing you know, I'm on the record. Mm-hmm. So I put a verse on the record. It's Razcast record featuring Fame and AL.
Okay. Oh, so you're going by AL?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to remember the AL. Cool. So let's talk your project. Thank you.
My project, All Lyrics. So it's going to be coming out soon. The thing is, I also got another project as I'm speaking to. I'm doing right now that's going to come out first. I got this project called First Gen Link with this artist named P&O. P&O. He's part of a group called Tres Coronas. This is a Spanglish album. So I'm going in the realm of like, I'm doing what I do, but I'm doing maybe like 4 bars in English, 4 in Spanish, 2 in English, in my verse. So it's a Spanglish, it's mixed up, but it's all boom bap, hardcore, hip hop. I got Havoc, I got Psycho Les on the album, and of course P&O. So P&O, he's a Colombian. I'm Colombian. He's Colombian, and he has a group called Tres Coronas, and they started in like 2000s, early 2002, 2003, and they made a big name in that style of rapping English with Spanish, and they got really big in South America, Spain. So they're really well respected in that genre, and they're still touring. So I'm known, but I'm known for all the stuff I did with my American stuff that I've done. So a lot of the Colombian kids look up to me like, oh my, and now I'm just saying, okay, now I'm gonna feed you some Spanglish stuff, and they're like, I'm excited, and coming from P&O, because we're putting the project together. We're almost done. He's like, you know, giving people previews, and everybody's like, "Wow, this is gonna be dope," and it's coming out really dope. It's really coming out really good. Everything it's coming out like, I don't know how to explain it, but when it comes out organically, like I didn't even plan for this to happen. Mm-hmm. I just went in the studio. We did one song, two, and then every song started getting better and better and better. Next thing you know, yo, can you get this guy? I'll say, all right, let me see. Oh shit, this beat is boom. Yo, I'll get on that. You know, like everything's going like nice. It's going out, coming out good. So looking forward to that project. That should be coming out probably in August, end of August, mid-August.
Okay.
I shot video. We got the album cover. We're doing 100 vinyls. You know, I start mixing, mastering this week, so it just, you know, it's on its way. So
sweet. And that's gonna be on your label or his label?
Well, we're doing it on both. Like we're sharing. So I got Asher Media Group. That's my label.
All right. I'd love to check that out. I'll check it out.
Definitely, bro. You're gonna like it because we're gonna give you that raw.
Okay, before you go, let me ask you like 2 or 3 questions. Reggaeton. Now, what was your whole view about the whole reggaeton back in the days?
I wasn't into it, but it was what it was. I look at it like, you know, and to be honest with you, you gotta respect it. I gotta respect it. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it, because if you listen to the beats, kind of like monotonous to me. You know what I'm saying? The same sound. Da-doom, 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 da-doom. It didn't attract me. You know what I'm saying? I could hear the lyrics. They were cool. You know, shout to Tego Calderon. All of them, it was good. But I'm into hip hop. Hip hop always has a different sonic sound, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Doesn't sound monotonous because you'll get a track like EPMD. What you're saying is definitely different than fucking, you know, Kane, you know, Raw. You know, it's a different sound. There's different sound. And you know, the production now, you can add everything onto it. You got horns, you got a band, the roots. It's no monotonous sound, in my opinion. But to each his own. If you like reggaeton, you like it. I'm gonna walk out the room when you play a record. I'm just not my shit. You know what I'm saying? I listen to it. But then get to what Bad Bunny started, when they started doing the Spanish trap, then I started liking it a little bit more.
Oh, they call it Spanish trap.
It was kind of like Spanish trap beats, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's when I started giving it a little ear, and I'm like, okay, it has a different beat. It has a particular beat, you know? But whenever I start hearing those sounds, I'm gonna be not really into that. I'll do Spanish rap before I do reggaeton, definitely, you know?
Okay. You have a point, because every beat was different from his album. Yeah. Okay, I like that, yeah. So, the Latin community, what part, a lot of people try to downplay Latin community in hip-hop.
Okay.
And I'm like wondering, like, why? Because it's still hip-hop.
Okay. Oh, you're talking about that little friction with Lord Jamal and Crazy Legs and all that, man. Listen to me. You know, to me, I wasn't there, so I have no say to anything, right? And this is what it is, kind of like what Lord Jamal's saying is like, oh, you're a guest, and respect it, and I'm with that, because a lot of the music comes from Africa. So salsa is African, you know what I'm saying, with the things. But if I want to express myself into that genre, you're gonna tell me I can't do it? No, it's not fair to say that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna shit on, you know, African Americans or black people. I would never do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you accepting my shit, you like my stuff. Okay, cool. Because I'm approaching it the right way, and you know, and as I get older and older, like, you know, we have the vocabulary thing because of New York. Like, I'm Spanish, right? So think about it. Yo, what's up, nigga? Like, we grew up on that. But as I get older, I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm taking it out of the rhyme. I'm taking it out of the thing. I don't need to say that. My vocabulary is more valuable. I'm smarter than that than using that word, because sometimes I'll be like, damn, man. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go down south, certain areas, I'll say nigga, they'll look at me like, yo, you crazy. Like, what are you saying, nigga? You white. You know, you're not black. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So I took it upon myself to use it less. You know what I'm saying? And that's my whole take on it. But me being a Latino rapper, why can't I not rap? You know what I'm saying? Why can't I not contribute to the art? You know what I'm saying? I don't look at color barrier because when I heard Eminem, I was blown away. I was like, yo, this dude is nasty. That's it. You know what I'm saying? You cannot, you know. Now it's up to you if you subject matter, whatever songs you did, he might, you know, you might not like that. Or oh, nobody in the hood is listening to Eminem. Great. Whatever happens, whatever he sells, he sells. Because why, you know, he did sell over 30 million records, and then I know African Americans that like his music too, or that, you know, but not in that realm of what, you know, what the hood likes. But, you know, there shouldn't be anybody gatekeeping that like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're coming in and you're doing like you're on some racist shit, and no, you have no right to ever talk in that realm and being, you know, doing something in that realm with this, you know, disrespecting the art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but you know, but I don't think there should be any gatekeeping to any race to doing anything. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah, you're right.
You know, if it's dope, it's dope. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking at, you know, oh man, he's nah.
All right. Any shout outs?
Man, shout out to you guys for having me up here, man. You guys are doing a good thing. I mean, this is you know, keeping the art form alive and giving me a voice. I'm appreciative. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys are valuing what I value. You know what I'm saying? True hip hop, good music. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it is what it is. Like I often say this a lot. I want to hear more message music, or you know, people giving a message of what you're feeling. Like I got this other project I'm doing from the West Coast with this guy named Prince and Apple from Black Eyed Peas. That work with the Black Eyed Peas too.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So Apple, I got a song called "I Am Legend" with Ill Mind. He produced it. It came out like last year. Hopefully we get to shoot the video the right way because I went last year to shoot it. But this time we're pushing. I'm doing a little project, like an EP with them, and the music is dope, man. We're trying to say something, you know what I'm saying? Give a message, give them a message because the music is lacking that. You know, you don't get a Lauryn Hill again. Every girl rap is rapping about selling pussies and doing this all sexual stuff. You know, okay, man, I'm not here preachy, but come to us the right, you know, come differently. Give us something to, you know, to look forward to. You know,
it's like there's no substance.
None of it. And those are the gatekeepers that want you to go to prison. You know those big corporations, labels, that Universal, they own this. They got stakes in the prisons. So why are they gonna give you to do that? Nah, they don't want to give you that. They want you to, you know, they want you to be, you know, doing Pop Smoke music and shit like that, which is nothing wrong with that. But just you gotta like balance it. I want a balance of like music.
Cause I remember growing up, it's like you hear a CD, it's like a play. You hear the good part, the party, then the message behind. Then you hear like a song like "Everything's Gonna Be Alright" or "Keep Your Head Up," like a positive message in the album.
I mean, you man, how do I like? There's so many great albums out there that you can just say, look, listen to this. You know, you got "Ready to Die." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not that positive because the last song is suicidal thoughts. But this is art. You know that you want. But at the same time, the way he's expressing and writing and stuff, it's not like just putting words together. He's saying some, you know, he's doing stories and shit. You know, like "Warning" is probably one of the best stories you ever heard. Who the hell is this? Paging me at 5:46 in the morning, you know, and he's talking about some real street shit. You know, you play that record right now in our class, everybody's saying every word for word. You know what I'm saying? So that comes about with substance and good, you know, making it like worth your while. But if you're playing a record and it's like, yeah, kill your mother, yeah, kill your mother, kill your mother, yeah, kill your mother. You know, I mean, you know, you'll get some repetitive shit and just not saying anything. and it becomes a hit, you gotta ask questions about that shit. Like, really, this is what you listening to? You know, I mean, there's so much music out there right now that's about that. You know,
I'm telling you, I was reading a statistic. So there's 11 million songs uploaded onto Spotify like every year. 30,000 is from the majors. The rest is independent.
It's a lot.
11 million is a lot.
Every day, 11. You know what I'm saying? The problem I got with that right now is that nothing has any time value. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you get a hit record and then it's gone within the next week. Oh yeah, you know it just doesn't hold value. I mean, I come from a time when the Nas "It Was Rain" came out. It was in the summer, July. We rocked that shit all the way to what I'm saying, to December. We were rocking that album, you know. Mm-hmm. and it came with the singles and the videos dropping like that, you know.
Yeah.
So, the technology was good and bad. There's a good thing about it and a bad thing. Sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it's all right. No, we're done.
Yeah.